Are you looking for a perfect bow build? One that can clear maps very fast, can do uber bosses and magic find all at the same time, like a top 1% build. All that while not costing you multiple hundreds of divines. Well, enter our all-rounder Lightning Arrow Deadeye, a project I have been working on for the past 2 weeks, designed specifically to deliver the best possible character power per currency spent. It is the ultimate example of a perfect build that has damage, speed, magic find potential, and not being squishy all at the same time. In fact, this guy right over here died less times than my mind over matter mana stacking Stormweaver, which is really impressive. So if you're looking forward to start your first bow build, then this video is just the thing for you. So as usual, we begin with our Ascendancy. We are a Deadeye. Despite the nerfs compared to Path of Exile 1, Deadeye remains the golden standard Ascendancy for any bow build. First we begin with Gathering Winds. This node grants us 1 stack of Tailwind whenever we use a skill up to a maximum of 10 stacks. Each stack grants us 3% attack speed, 1% movement speed, and 15% increased evasion. Now taking a hit makes you lose all of these stacks, although it's not a problem because we do rebuild them very quickly. Anyway, next we go for Far Shot. This node grants us a 20% damage multiplier with distance to enemies, reaching its maximum value after 7 meters. For reference, 7 meters is about the middle point between your character and the edge of your monitor, so keep that in mind. Now for our third Ascendancy, we got Endless Munitions. This node lets us fire 1 additional projectile. This, alongside other sources of additional projectiles that we have in this build, saves us the need to use Scattershot Support Gem because it has a massive damage reduction penalty. Now for our last Ascendancy, we got Eagle Eyes. You see, Path of Exile 2 imposes a heavy accuracy penalty the further away an enemy is from you. This counteracts our long range playstyle, which is really bad. This node simply eliminates that penalty, allowing us to always hit enemies regardless of how far they are standing from us. This is great for off-screening monsters that might prove difficult to deal with if allowed to get too close. But with that, we are done with our Ascendancy. Now let's take a look at our passive tree. Our tree focuses on projectile damage, attack damage, increased quiver effect, accuracy, attack speed, attack crit chance and crit damage, lightning damage and lightning penetration, movement speed, and a lot of jewel sockets. And that was it for our passive tree. Now let's take a look at our items. First and foremost, we are looking for a dual string bow with bow attacks fire 2 additional projectile suffix. That sets our total number of fire projectiles to 5. Now depending on your budget, go as high as possible on your bow damage. I settled on 280 bow DPS, which set me around 3 divines with the extra projectiles. I was fine with that because I do have other sources of flat damage on my items. One such place is Quiver. Here we have flat physical damage, flat lightning damage, increased damage with bow skills, and increased attack crit chance and crit damage. Remember that it's very important to have a good quiver because we are scaling its bonuses with our passive tree. Anyway, next we have Warrior's Invictus chest with both increased maximum life and increased elemental resistances per socketed rune or soul core. I got this corrupted with chaos resistance instead of getting one with 5 sockets to greatly save currency. It is best in slot for maximizing the amount of life we get from the slot. We also socketed soul cores here for even more life. Next we got an amulet with +3 to level of all projectile gems, and +20 to all attributes which are needed to complement the requirements for our chest. Aside from that, we have life and mana regen. Now, I'm not a big fan of increasing gem levels on attack builds because their mana cost skyrockets very quickly, but there aren't really better options to get on our amulet, so I decided to settle with that. Anyway, don't forget to anoint your amulet with Moment of Truth, as it provides us with lots of damage in the form of increased crit chance and crit damage. Our next item is a helm with a high life roll, increased critical chance, chaos resistance, and lots of item rarity. Remember that this build is supposed to be able to magic find, so getting a helm with lots of rarity is quite important. Also, helms with double rarity mods are quite cheap for some reason. Anyway, here we have socketed a chaos resistance soul core to further cap our chaos resistance. Our next item is a pair of gloves with increased attack speed, increased critical damage, lots of life, and a decent resistance roll. This is best in slot considering that we don't have lots of attributes to utilize Hand of Wisdom and action. Anyway, here we have also socketed a Chaos Resistance Soul Core. Our next item is a pair of boots with 35% increased movement speed, life, rarity, and a good resistance roll. It is highly recommended that you try to get a decent mana roll somewhere, as that will give you more fuel to spend on your resource hungry skills. I really think that GGG should lower the mana cost of attacks as they are way too high right now. Anyway, for our rings, our first ring has a high flat lightning damage roll. That alongside life, increased item rarity, resistances, and dexterity, or accuracy rating if possible. Our second ring is quite similar, also adding flat damage to attacks, life, increased item rarity, and even more resistances. Now I know that there is a lot to improve here, but I wanted to keep our investment in check. Now one exception was with our build, as I wanted to use Ingenuity. However, I only settled with a 54% roll, which I ended up paying 6 divines for. It is best in slot, but a decent rare build should be able to give you more life and resistances, as the only difference between that and using Ingenuity is about 10% more damage. It is not mandatory, so feel free to ignore it if you are on a budget. But with that, we are done with our items. Now let's take a look at our gem setups. For our main 6-link setup, we are using Lightning Arrow, a great clearing skill with excellent single target damage when combined with Lightning Rod. It releases lightning arcs that chains couple of times on hit. It does feel better than Path of Exile 1 OG Tornado Shot, but only when there are enough enemies on screen, which is perfect, since we made this build to farm breaches in the first place. Anyway, this one is supported with Inspiration for reduced mana cost, Martial Tempo for more attack speed, Lightning Infusion for added lightning damage, Fork for even more clearing, and Mobility for faster movement speed while firing. Anyway, next we have Lightning Rod, a skill that shoots arrows that pulses with lightning damage whenever lightning arrow chains to them. You want to use this skill whenever you see a boss or encounter a tough rare monster. This one is supported with Magnified effect to increase the pulse AoE, allowing multiple rods to overlap, dealing insane damage to a single target. We also have Long Shot to greatly increase rod damage when fired from a long distance, Lightning Exposure to lower enemies' lightning resistance, and Primal Armaments for more elemental damage. I decided that this build only needs one 6-link to save currency, so this setup only sits at 4 support gems for now. Anyway, next we have Herald of Thunder. This one activates whenever we kill a shocked enemy, empowering our next 5 attacks with bolts of lightning. This one is supported with Elemental Focus for its raw damage output, Concentrated Effect for more area damage, and Innervate, which will give us more lightning damage to all of our skills whenever we kill a shocked enemy with supported skill. Last but not least, we got Wind Dancer. Similar to our Tailwind buff, this one boosts our evasion rating as long as we don't get hit by an attack. This alongside Tailwind makes us sit at around 10,000 evasion rating, which equals to 75% chance to evade attacks in tier 15 maps, which is insane. This skill is supported with Clarity for more mana regen, Precision for more accuracy, and Vitality for a little bit of life regen. But with that, we are done with our gems. Now for jewels, we have 8 jewel sockets in this build. In them we have normal rare jewels that comes with increased crit damage for attacks, increased projectile damage, lightning penetration, and attack speed. Your target for lightning penetration is 50%. Once you reach it, start getting different jewels like this that replaces penetration for something like increased damage with bows. Now ideally you want to spend your sockets on an adorned setup with corrupted magic jewels, but that's quite expensive right now. But with that, we are done with our perfect Lightning Arrow build for Path of Exile 2. If you guys have enjoyed this video, then you know the drill. Like, comment, and maybe even subscribe so you don't miss out on any future build guide like this one. My name is Phoenix, and I will see you all in the next video.